Tell me about this fish, Catherine.
Yep. So this is a male Atlantic salmon caught in the Ganaraska River. The Ganaraska River, like all our tributaries, are catch and release for Atlantic salmon only. So if you catch one in the tributaries, you do have to release it. It is illegal to keep one. Some anglers are unsure of the species they catch, but it's their responsibility to know what it is that they are catching. We have ID resources on our website and other places online, so you need to know what you catch so that you can follow the rules for that species.
And as a non-angler, why is it that way? Like, why is it for catch and release?
That's a great question. So we are restoring Atlantic salmon. They are our native salmonid to Lake Ontario. And so right now, we do not yet have a self-sustaining population. That is the program goal. When we get to that stage, we hope we can have anglers also catch and keep the fish, which they may also do in the lake if they follow the regulations. But in the tributaries, we have at the moment relatively few fish coming back to spawn, and we'd like every one of those fish to have that chance to spawn. So right now, if you catch an Atlantic salmon in those tributaries, you must release that fish.
A lot of times, I find just by pictures in the video I've taken, police fishermen, when they spot one of these being caught. Mm-hmm. When I was here yesterday, I'm not sure if this is the exact one, but that's exactly what happened. Is they told the guy to put it back, but by the time the guy put it back, it was dead, so it carries on.
Yep.
But talk a little bit about that if you can, like if that's okay.
It's an angler's choice, of course, whether they wish to police other anglers for any behavior which is illegal. There is a lot of ways an angler can behave either unethically or illegally. Personally, I think that, having that interaction among anglers is probably a good way for people to learn. There are certainly people who simply don't know what they're doing is wrong, and I'd rather have them be educated. There are other people, of course, who are doing things wrong because they choose to do so. So it's a personal choice. There's potentially a risk associated with that. People can get aggressive if you confront them, and so the safest way and the most legal way is probably to call the MNRF tips line, because then you have a record of that infraction, and MNRF can come in and investigate that, and they have the knowledge and the power to also, of course, issue tickets for that illegal activity.
What will happen with this fish now?
This fish will, it's up to the, I guess I know for this fish because I have it. I have a collection permit for this fish, otherwise I could not possess it. So I'll take it back. I'll deliver it at some point to our colleagues at MNRF, and we will be able to sample biological information from this fish, and so that will include things like the age of this fish, the strain that this fish was stocked, and other things like the diet of the fish, stress hormones perhaps, levels of thiamine deficiency, so B1, vitamin B1, which is a problem in some fish. And so we'll get a bunch of different biological information, hopefully, from this fish.
Last question, it's not a hard thing if you don't know your fish, put it back.
That's of course what you should do. It's like anything else. If you don't know what you're shooting at, don't shoot. If you don't know if you can legally keep that fish, put that fish back. Yeah. Okay, so Atlantic salmon, it is a male. They have this kype, whereas the females have a much blunter snout. Either way, again, the fish has to be released. So key things to look for to determine whether it's an Atlantic salmon or one of the other 4 species we have here, which is rainbow trout, Chinook salmon, coho salmon, and brown trout. First, look at the gill plate. If it has spots on it, it's an Atlantic salmon or brown trout. Chinook, rainbow, and coho do not have spots here. They'll have spots in their body and up along the head, but they will not have spots here. So already we're down to 2 species. Brown trout Atlantic salmon can be a little bit tricky. So I look for 2 things mainly. One is the mouth. Atlantic salmon has a mouth that doesn't go past the end of the eye. So that mouth is right at the end of the eye. The males tend to have a bigger mouth, but it's still stopping there. Brown trout has a longer mouth. It's going to go farther back and be past the end of the eye. Second thing is the tail. So again, big males are, a little bit trickier, but you can see this tail is still slightly forked. Look at this, there's a little bit of curve going on here to the inside. A brown trout is gonna have a very, very square tail. That's gonna be a very, very flat line here. And you can see the caudal where it joins the tail, it's indented here. You can grip that relatively easily. A brown trout is gonna be thicker and it's gonna blend into the tail a lot more. Other small stuff, the Atlantic stocked in the Ganaraska, all have their adipose clipped, so there's no adipose fin on this fish. It's not 100% accurate. There will be a few strays that maybe have that. There might be a few brown trout strays that do not, but the majority of Atlantic salmon are going to have that adipose fin missing here. So it's something you can use. They also tend not to have spots on their dorsal fin, whereas brown trout often do have spots there. Also, they tend to have fewer spots in general on the upper part of the body. Brown trout tend to have more spots that go farther down the body. So use all of that together to determine what you have. And again, if you can't tell, let the fish go.